Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, listening to Sep and Nira speak, they've really covered so much of it. But I think that there's a few things that I would love to bring to the table, just because my experience coming to this work is a little bit different. And my position, even financially, is substantially different from them. And so being able to speak from that angle maybe will fill in some blanks for others, that have been missed. So I just completed my year last year, which is so exciting. 1 year ago today, I was also a completely different person. Although this type of work isn't, intuition and spirituality isn't new to me. It's something that I've sought since I was young, but reading the books wasn't enough. And I had read the books and I had sought for answers. And but I lived my life as a highly anxious, very, very sad, very depressed. Like it was just a state of being that had developed in childhood and followed me throughout life, and seeking answers in this work, but never really being able to figure out why was this pattern happening, what was happening here. And so to speak to where I was, I've always been someone who's followed my heart and followed when my instinct tells me to do something, I do it. And so I followed my heart in my passion in life, which was hand weaving at the time. So I was an artist and not making a lot of money. So the investment of this course was almost half of what I would make in a year. Like, I'm not a wealthy person. And so, however, it came to a point in my work where it was like I had this deep seeking for something more, and so I just asked, what is, then bring me my teachers. I don't, like, I've read the books, I've tried doing the work, and I'm not getting anywhere. I don't know what else to do. You have to bring me the teachers. Just speaking to my, to my guides, to my whoever was listening. And so I stumbled upon Divi and Lynnette, and I had never worked with them before. I didn't know anybody who had worked with them. So to come upon these people but the course really resonated with me. Like I had seen other, I know that there's other types of intuitives out there, and I had looked at different ones, but it didn't resonate. And so I just trusted that even though the money wasn't there, that it was, I just had to trust that this is where I was brought, and to take that step forward. And so even throughout the course, it was always this thing that I had come up against was the money, was, am I making a mistake? But it was, what I had come to realize is that it's about doing the work for yourself. It's not about, the investment is in yourself. And so at the end of the year, would I do it again? Yes, of course I would. It's my capacity to be able to ground myself and understand what it was that was trying to be said to me, but I couldn't hear because of the anxiety, because of the depression, because of all. And which is actually, I think, a really interesting piece, is that it was that in doing this work, it's almost like, for those of you who struggle with those types of things, this is what I feel this is what we're seeking, is because it's our intuition trying to speak with us, but we can't hear it. We're so out of alignment that it's causing so much contrast that we're freaking out. But it's when you can come into alignment and be able to hear that clearly, that all of a sudden you can move in rhythm with what you're supposed to be doing in your life, and things just flow. And so so that's kind of, I don't know, maybe I'll stop there. Is that?
It's beautiful. I mean, you made me, I'm like all sweaty. Oh my God, all that energy. Whoa.
Is there anything else you'd like me to speak to, or any questions? Or
Any questions? Sarah, Rhonda, Julia, anybody questions?
I think Sarah has one. Yeah.
Sure. Hi. I don't mean to take over all the
No,
questions.
it's perfect. Go ahead. Your questions, everyone else's, so go for it.
Thank you so much, Donnie. Yeah, that was super helpful. I think it's interesting because as I think about this course, I'm looking at it both from a personal lens and also a, how can I be of service lens? And my whole life, I've wondered why I was so sensitive, and I always felt like maybe there's gifts to be had, by being as sensitive as I am, but I haven't been able to totally figure out how to use my sensitivities. And so hearing your story is really beautiful. And thank you for sharing. And I was curious about in your work life now, if you're still practicing your art, have you incorporated this work, or are you doing this work separately? Like, how is that going for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I have started coaching, and my weaving is still on hold because I'm also studying plant medicine. So I'm also going to school full time right now, kind of rounding out an entire vision that's come to me. But the hand weaving plays an important role in all of this as well. And I can see how this work will allow me to transition back into that with a new scope of even my belief around money. So I only believed that I could make a small amount of money. And so it was like my container was only this big. And so even in being able to expand that to be able to allow in more, because making this investment allows you to overcome, I guess, those beliefs we have around money. It's like it comes and it goes, and it also it expands your container. I don't know how else to put it, but and so even with my weaving, one of my biggest things was that I didn't feel I was worth the work that I was putting in, and I put in so much work. It was, and so it allows me to now look at my work and from a different perspective as well. And with the coaching, it's definitely something that was a deep calling forever that finally I have words for. And even with the coaching, it's just something that comes so naturally when you say yes to it, because there isn't necessarily a set process of how it looks or how it happens. And it's just about saying yes to it. And every time it just comes through, and yeah, the expansion, the possibilities that have come out of this in any realm of your life, other work that you do, it just seems so much more easy to weave together. I don't know, did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
I wrote in, beautiful Danny, thank you for sharing your story. That's what Rhonda wrote.
Thank you, Rhonda.